Hey everyone, I'm Jay Scherr and welcome to Business Minds Coffee Chat. The goal of this show is to share insights, help to lift and inspire others, and deliver practical, meaningful, and actionable content. Our guest today is a husband and father, an executive and entrepreneurship coach and mentor, a keynote speaker, author of the Amazon #1 best-selling book, Sidehustle Millionaire, and a podcast host helping others find their purpose and achieve success and happiness. He's a drag racing and car fanatic who survived a serious accident during a race 5 years ago. In the midst of a successful 25-year corporate career in oil and gas project management, he and a partner built a side hustle business investing under an hour a day. That business grew to become the busiest General Motors performance website with over 160,000 registered members and generated over $400,000 in profit before being sold in 2007 for multiple seven figures. Please welcome the founder of 365 Driven, Tony Whatley.
Hey, Jay, thank you for having me on the show. And I'll just give you some acknowledgement. That was the most detailed introduction I've ever had. And I've been on over 200 shows. And I just wanted to give you credit for that. You do your work, man. You do your due diligence.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for you being here today. So I will share this with you. I really enjoyed researching you and I love your story. So I want to dive right in. And I'd love to find out from you first what it means to be 365 driven.
Oh, good. That's a good one. So the brand name, obviously, of my business, but the also thinking about 365 Driven, it's just simply improving every single day. So you're not only improving your success financially, but you're also thinking of success in your relationships, your mindset, your health, everything about the things that you can control. I try to improve and challenge other people to control and become better every day.
All right, perfect. Well, some very strong foundational things there. So, Tony, what drives you then?
I would say for me, being driven was really, I think early on in my career was just really trying to get validation like most people. It's maybe being counted out when you're younger and maybe feeling like that you had leadership potential within you, but maybe you didn't feel like kind of opportunities. And really having a little bit of a resentment and a chip on my shoulder is kind of what propelled me forward early in my life. And I was always thinking about how can I do things better? How can I get better grades? I was always very competitive
Mhm.
and always just trying to do better on every aspect. But I think I used some of that, what we deem negative energy, in a positive manner and constructively, and just being competitive and trying to improve myself. So nowadays, I'm a little bit more focused on impact and building legacy. Like the car accident you mentioned in 2015, that really changed my trajectory because I'd already made millions of dollars out of a very comfortable life, career, businesses, family. And I was realizing in that moment that I just really wasn't doing enough. And that's where I really started to shift in 2015 to be more focused on legacy and impact.
It's interesting. Well, let's go back a little bit because you hit on some very key emotional aspects of what drives you. Were these things, were you very self-aware of this, of some of those impacts, or was it what you learned over time, whether through mentorship, counseling, what have you?
I think for me, it was always a fear of putting myself out there, and the fear of potential criticism is what holds most people back. Jay, is this that fear of, I think someone's going to talk crap to me or make fun of my dreams or things like that. But I've been a pretty big thinker most of my lives, and most of my dreams have been laughed at, but they all came true. So as I got older, I started to gain more confidence and certainty in my own abilities and my own work ethic, and I knew I could get results. So here's the thing: is that prior to 2015, prior to that accident, I had made a lot of people successful. I'd helped other people in my company, people that worked in my brand. I built 12 millionaires by just giving them advice. And I was doing this privately, and the only people that were benefiting from that information were my close proximity of people. And the thing is I wanted to be able to help more people, but I was also reluctant to put myself out there for the fear of criticism, which inevitably did come. people understand that you will gain criticism, you'll get haters, you'll get people who are vindictive and try to take you down as soon as you start getting attention. And there's a lot of reasons for that, on the psychological reasons for them. It's not you, it's really about them. And I really help people unlock this kind of stuff, because prior to that accident, I had plenty of excuses available. Like most people out there that may be watching this or listening to this, they have a lot of convenient excuses on why they don't do videos or stand on a stage or invest in themselves to become a better speaker or communicator or write that book. Any way that's going to get their information out there to scale to masses, thousands, if not millions of people. A lot of people have fear about just being criticized, so they just hide and they tell themselves they got a comfortable life and they've got a comfortable job and they've got income, and they don't need to do that, with the air quotes. We don't need to do that. And that's what I really believed. But when you start to think about it, I was really just listening to my own excuses, and hiding is what I was really doing. And I said, you know what, Tony, you're just really, what it comes down to be frank, is you're just being a bitch. You're hiding, you're just being a bitch. And that's why you're not doing the things that you know that you should be doing to create more impact. So you mentioned the first thing I love was cars. The other thing I love is entrepreneurship and business. I've been like that since I've been a kid. So I said, you know what, and on May 4th in 2017, and that date is 2 years after the accident. I want to really illustrate that point as well. It took me 2 years to finally figure out what I wanted to do and start making plans and really start to get more comfortable with the opportunity to push the start button and even do that. But I made a post on my social media, said, hey guys, prior to this, all you've ever seen is photos of my cars and the fancy stuff and the lifestyle. And I was never in front of the camera. I was never in front of the video. I never put myself out there unless it was family vacation photos and such like that. So I said, you guys see all the fancy stuff I have, but now I'm going to teach you how I got that. So I'm going to start changing my social media just from just cars, which was like 99% car stuff, content around cars and my racing. And I'm going to start teaching you some things about business. And as you can imagine, Jay, some people did come out of the woodworks that were like, well, I don't follow you because of your, business stuff. Like, why don't you just keep posting car stuff? Like, this business stuff is stupid. And I only follow you because of the cars. And like, you start to get those critics. And I want people to understand that that's part of this journey.
Is there a process that you go to or go through, or maybe that you did early on to overcome that negativity, or when you get that type of judgment or comments like that, that you just sweep it under the rug and just continue to stay focused and move on? So what was it like for you?
I would say the first 3 to 4 months of seeing those kind of responses from people that you've known a dozen or more years, they do hurt you, because they think that you make you think like, am I doing something wrong? That's your initial thing. We always kind of go to the worst case scenario. We make assumptions and we think, am I doing something wrong, or is my message really that bad? Or, do people think I'm being a sleazeball for trying to teach people the things I have abilities and skills and knowledge in? And what you really come to find is that it's them. It's the other people. The criticism that come from other people are just really unhappy people. They may portray happiness on social media and in your presence, but the thing is miserable people like to make other people miserable. And when you start to escalate and climb the ladder, or try to climb out of that categorical box that they want to classify you in, what's going to happen is you're going to start to shine brighter. You're going to be brighter and brighter and brighter as you climb. And some people don't like when you get brighter, because you start to illuminate the dark sides of them that they don't like about themselves. So rather than support your shine and help you climb, they're going to try to dim your shine and pull you back down in the box with them. The whole crabs in the bucket scenario that we hear about, it's absolutely true. And I'll tell you that it exists between all socioeconomic levels. This isn't just like the poor people keeping you in the poor mindset. This is not just about middle class people keeping you middle class. I've experienced this phenomenon through several variations of my life as I've evolved and I've tried to climb and improve and do these different things. I outgrow people. And I'll tell you, there's even people that would be on a net worth millionaire level that will still try to hold you back when you want more than what they have.
What a powerful message. So I want to dig into that for a moment. So talking about people and the people that you surround yourself with, and you have those that are negative, that want to bring you down, that only want to focus on the things that are going on that are bad situations, right? They're not focused on positivity. They're not looking at solutions and providing value to others. So with that said, with the people that you surround yourself, do you allow people to fall off And are you constantly looking at those that you surround yourself with and making conscious decisions about who you align with?
Absolutely. And I think that this is something that most people hear a lot. We even hear it as children. We think about our parents that looked at our friends and go, I don't know if you should be running with those boys. Parents are pretty good judgment, obviously. They're 20 years older, 30 years older than us, and they could see this with wisdom. And we didn't see that as children. But as we start to become 30s, 40s, 50s, and older, you start to realize that, holy crap, my parents were right. I just didn't accept it. I've heard that and I know what that meant, but I didn't accept it. And what I didn't do is apply it.
Yeah.
And most people understand that the circle of people you hang around, the influence of people that you hang around, they do matter. We understand that. Okay. If I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of felons and criminals, I might get engaged in that behavior. If I'm going to go hang around with a bunch of multimillionaires, I'm going to learn and think and operate like those people. And I get that. But here's the problem. Human physiology, human physiology over millions of years of development, we're hardwired to be pack animals. We want to fit in with the crowd. We want to be liked by everybody, especially people that are coming from a place of love where we're trying to teach other people and be people pleasers, right? We don't like people upset at us. We don't want people angry at us. So we like to keep those connections even when they're toxic. So the people that are listening like this, if that's you and it's resonating with you, you need to understand that you're going to have to cut ties with some people. And that's going to be one of the hardest things you can do. And I'll tell you that it wasn't even until my 40s when I started to draw a hard line in the sand and be like, you know what? This person is toxic. This person is robbing my energy. This person is a one-way friendship. I'm going to start removing these people. And guys, I was 40 before I started to think about that and actually taking actions. Now, prior to that age, I knew when people were toxic. I knew when you were being used and you had a one-way friendship. I knew when people were robbing my energy, but our power of connection is so strong, it's hard for us to get rid of those people, isn't it, Jay?
Yes, it
So
is.
when you finally start to take action, which is the thing that differentiates successful and unsuccessful people, we have to take action. Now, the easiest way to ask yourself is what I just mentioned. Does this person bring me energy? Does this person take me energy? When I hang around with this person, do I feel defeated or reduced prior to the conversation going into that? Now, understanding that, think about this from a tangible perspective. If I see your name ringing on my phone, or I see a notification from an email with your name on it, am I excited to look at that and respond? Or do I go, damn, what now? What does this person want now?
Red
That's a
flag.
great indicator of the energy. Like they're about to take energy. We're all very busy individuals. We don't like our energy being robbed even more because we know that we have so many things we need to do and accomplish. So we try to avoid those situations and those people. So that's an indicator that those people don't need to be in your circle. So not to do a hard no, but you can create distance and boundaries by just making yourself less accessible and being more focused on your priorities and saying knowing no to some of the invitations that you may get from those people or conversations from those people. The next step from that would just be physically removing those people or unfollowing those people. Just get rid of those people from your proximity. If they're infecting your emotional state, if they're making you angry or anxious or feeling defeated or feeling smaller than you truly are, you just need to distance yourself completely from those people and just get rid of them. And I'll tell you, it gets easy and easier and easier and easier the more that you do this. So you might have a real struggle. I'm going to tell you, deleting the first 5 people from your Facebook or your Instagram, it's going to be tough. I had to go through this myself. My wife and I both went through this. After that first 5, you're going to go through a period, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, where you're kind of feeling a little bit of remorse and you're kind of feeling a little guilty. And then you start to do it again. You start to remove some other people, and it gets really easy after that. I'm telling you, like, you got to be able to outgrow it and just take those actions.
Yeah, you're so right. It is life changing. It truly is. And we could talk about this for hours because it is a very, very powerful concept, and to get into the psychological side of it. But I do want to ask one question because I know this is going to come up. What happens in the case of toxic family members? So have you experienced that, and how did you address that type of situation?
I think that just because we're born into a family, I don't think that they get a free pass to go trample on your dreams and your mind. I think people give their family too much respect sometimes when they haven't earned it. I think family doesn't get a free pass, man. So if they're going to be toxic, if they're going to boo-hoo your dreams, if they're going to condescend you or belittle you or try to make you diminished in front of the public, you don't need those people in your life, because unlike family, we can pick our friends, but we can't pick our family. That's just genetic, you're born into. I've seen some of the highest successful people just basically banish one or two of their parents sometimes, in some cases, because they realize that their parents were the ones holding them down. So you got to realize, like, you only have a short time here on this earth. And if you're going to let these people externally affect your life and your trajectory and pursuing your dreams and killing your confidence and trying to remind you of your past, you got to make a decision for yourself. Do I really want my life to go on that low trajectory and like hit their goals, or do I need to reset and go after the things I truly want to do? And that's your choice.
Yeah, good stuff. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So let's change topics for a moment. Let's talk about your book. Why did you write the book? Who is the book for? And how did that change your life, and how has it changed those that have read that book and applied the principles?
So Sidehustle Millionaire is the book. I wrote that. It came out in May of 2018. And the funny thing is that book was in my mind for about 5 years before I started writing it. I was always thinking about, I need to write this book. I want to write this book to help other people, to be able to scale my message. And again, I had that self-doubt. I'm going to get criticized and all these different things that are going through your head, the mental trash, keeping you from doing that, keeping you from putting your word out there for fear of judgment. So I really went through that whole struggle, and I decided, I'm just going to write this book. And I put it on my calendar, and I blocked out the time, and I guarded that time, and I made it a priority. I was really focused on the significance value of that project. And as I was typing it, I would have a group that I started on a Facebook called 365 Driven Entrepreneurs. Started out with 40 people, and I would use them as a sounding board to go, hey, this is the topic I'm going to write about. What are the questions that you guys need answered in this kind of subject? What are the things that you were missing when you were coming along with your business? So I started to use these things to validate the ideas, to make sure that if I captured the answer to all these questions, I would have a product, a book that somebody would actually use and buy and recommend to other people. So that's a big tip for any entrepreneur. If you're going out there to create a product or a service, always test and validate the idea with people who are potential buyers before you think you're going to waste a time or a dime doing that project. Because a lot of people do this wrong. They go spend hours and hours and hours, and they spend thousands of dollars developing a course or curriculum or product, and then they unveil it and they're like, yes, I'm here. Here it is. And then it's like tumbleweeds blow across their screen, and their cart stays empty and no one ever buys it from it. And they're like, I thought I had this awesome idea, and like I thought everybody was going to buy it, because they didn't validate it, guys. You got to validate first. It's okay to pre-sell sometimes. And if you don't get the response that you want, give it back. Just refund the people. Say, hey, I didn't get the response I was looking for. Let me regroup my offer. I'm going to reposition and come back with some other offer in a couple months. So the book, I really wanted to think about entrepreneurship. Okay. And as someone that's been owning business since 2001, I was elevated in a higher level of entrepreneurship. I think about things that I take for granted. And I was looking at a higher level of entrepreneurship book for my own book, my first book.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my idea, Jay. I was like, I'm going to write this high level strategy book of how to build and scale millions and how to exit and all these kind of things. And so I went to my social media and I said, hey guys, I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be about entrepreneurship. What are the questions would you like answered? And Jay, it was all basic stuff. It was very basic stuff that I took for granted, stuff that I'd learned decades ago, but I just really didn't think about anymore because I operate in that in a normal manner.
Yeah.
So it was about, how do you create the name of your company? How do you start an LLC? What's an S Corp? How do you find money? How do you build a website? How do you figure out who you're going to sell? How do you validate the business idea? So it was all entry level stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, an egotistical person would have said, well, I'm not answering that basic level stuff, Jay. I'm going to go after the high level stuff like I want to. And I'm going to go write this high level strategy book that no one's going to buy. Right. So I said, okay, I'm going to write this book. And I actually titled it The Hustle initially. There's a funny story around the name of that Side Hustle Millionaire. But the thing is I wrote this book, and I basically wanted to have an idea or book to help you with your business ideas. Most people pat themselves on the back with business ideas. You see these people at work and they go, I got this great idea for a business, Tony, let me tell you about it. Or you see it on Facebook, I got this great idea. And everybody thinks they're so smart because they got an idea. But if they don't do something with that idea, it's worthless, because every day thousands of people die with great ideas. Take them to the grave. So I said, okay, I need to get people past this idea phase and get them to actually start and create their first business. And that's what the book is about. It's about taking the random ideas that you have, how to evaluate those against each other to find the one that's going to give you the best odds of success. And with that formula, then we start to look at the customer avatar, the marketing, the message, how to get funding if it's required, how to build your first website, do it the right way. And I'm always giving resources and different podcasts and different things to really escalate that process. So it's really a 0 to 7, I think it's a 0 to 7 figure book. If you want a zero first idea to the first million, it's a perfect book for you.
Love it. So have you heard back and have you received feedback from those that have read the book that said, this was a life-changing book for me? It was, this is what I did, and these are the results that I found. Have you received feedback?
Absolutely. So being out since May of 2018, it sold over 1,000 copies in the first week. And I never did the free stuff. I said, that's not bestseller if you're giving your book away. So I put it at introductory price, sold 1,000 copies, sold thousands of copies since, and then launched the podcast. And the group has grown to thousands of members as well. So it's been an incredible journey just to take this thing that was an idea in the back of my mind for 5 years, knowing that I could do it and having to get past those critics and the fear of putting yourself out there. And also I had to invest in myself to become the right person to carry that message. So I had a fear of public speaking. I had stage fright. I did not like the way I sounded on recorded voice. I didn't want to be on stage. I didn't like being in front of the camera. So I had to get over all those kind of things. And it was a lot of fear around that. But when your purpose becomes strong enough, you can start to push away your fear. And that's what I really focused on. But I didn't do it alone. I had to go hire speaking coaches, and I joined Toastmasters, and I did videos on social media every single day to get better and practice the things I was learning in public speaking. So you have to be able to invest and grow in yourself. And in the midst of that, I became a competitive public speaker, of won competitions, and now I stand on some big stages with thousands of people. It was a talent or a skill that I had within me that I never knew I had. And that's another key message of this episode, is that you need to understand that some of the things that you fear could actually become the best things that you've ever done.
Yes.
And you just have to understand that you have to go take those risks, because if you want to improve, we always say it, got to get out of the comfort zone. All the growth happens in discomfort. So 365 driven is about living within discomfort and seeking out the things that you truly fear to overcome those by repetition, by hiring the right coaches, by getting the information and just improving. And when you start to see transformation in with yourself, guys, it starts to unlock so many high levels of confidence that you can go achieve different things.
Yeah, and you start to build momentum, and momentum is your friend. It's incredible what can happen.
Oh yeah.
So you've touched on this more than once in this conversation. You've hit on the word action. So I want to talk about the ABCs. So what does action, belief, and consistency mean to you, and how are they core to success?
I love that. So that's one of the things I do on a speech is ABC, the action, belief, consistency, just like Jay said. ABC, keep it real simple. There's a lot of different things that are required for success, but it boils down to action, belief, and consistency. So action is simply taking action. It's about doing something rather than saying something. I mean, think about this. You and I were both active on Facebook and other social media platforms. How many times have you seen that friend that just posts a motivational meme and then they're done for the day? They're not taking any action. They think that sharing a motivational meme is action, but they're in the exact same situation, same career, same business that they've been for the last 10 years. And they're wondering why they haven't escalated or done anything to improve. Maybe their level of fitness has not increased over the last forever. And you start to think about, guys, you got to take action. Even when you think about the law of attraction, that's the woo-woo side of things. I love that book, The Law of Attraction. I've read a couple of those books. I believe in that. I visualize. But even within the word law of attraction, the last part is action. So it's law of action. You can't just think about things and make things happen. You have to think about things and then do something, some physical movement, take an action. So that's very important. And most people just fail the action part. They just want to believe in things and just go, yeah, this is great. I want to be a millionaire. But they don't do the things that are necessary to get there. Now, belief, the B, that's just simply believing in yourself. Okay, it's believing in what's possible. And I always want to make sure that people understand that you don't have to believe that you're going to impact millions of people. You don't have to believe you're going to be a billionaire. sometimes we don't have those big thoughts, and I didn't have those big thoughts either. It's okay to believe in what's possible for you right now, and understand that as you start to work towards that and you start to see actual results and transformation, you can expand that a little bit more, and you can expand it a little bit more again. When I wrote that book, I used to think about, I'm going to impact thousands of people, Jay. I minimized my idea. I'm going to impact thousands of people. Then it sold 1,000 copies in the first week. And I'm like, oh, am I going to impact 10,000 people? That just sounds stupid. It sounds stupid. Am I going to impact 100,000 people now? No, that sounds stupid too. So I had no choice to think like, now I'm going to impact millions of people. And it took me a couple months to really think about, does that sound kind of weird? It sounded kind of weird to me. I'm going to impact millions of people. But after a course of time, you start to realize like that is the statement, and there's nothing I can deny in that statement. So now when people ask me what my purpose is, I say, my purpose is to impact the generational legacy of millions of people. And I'm going to do that by teaching them confidence and business principles. That's the things I'm here for. That's my purpose. So I used to say thousands of people, Jay. See what I mean?
Sure.
When I started my first company, my goal was to make $500 a month. That was my car note at the time. It was a brand new Firebird. And I said, man, if I can make $500 a month extra on my side business, it'd be like having a free car for something I enjoyed doing. That one made millions of dollars. Okay. I didn't think about how I'm going to start this thing and make millions of dollars. I didn't think that way. So it's okay to think small, but you got to take those actions. You got to think big enough to motivate you as well. I think too many people set these achievable goals, and they just put something maybe that requires 10% more effort than they're actually putting in right now. And guys, you're not going to do those things. If it only requires 10% more effort, you're not going to do those things. You're going to talk yourself out of going to the gym. You're going to talk yourself out of starting that business. You're going to talk yourself out of launching that podcast, writing that book, going on a show, hiring a speaker. You're going to talk yourself out of it because that's just a little bit less comfortable than you're currently at. And I'll tell you, most people that fail, I'll tell them that they're the middle class. They get to a level that's comfortable on their income, and then they just kind of go, hey, this is good. And they get too comfortable, and they don't ever improve. They don't try to climb. They go, hey, I'm making more than I ever thought I would. I've said that. I understand what that is. I've gone through that. But you have to want more. You have to be hungry. You have to do things that keep challenging yourself. And as you do this, your belief starts to increase. Your confidence starts to increase. Now, consistency, the final one. That's my key word. Everything I look back on and anything that's successful in my life, it's about consistency. And the problem with consistency, Jay, is that everybody hears that word. Everybody's heard that word since they were kids. Consistent, be consistent, work hard consistently show up. And the problem with hearing that is a fundamental word is most people think, I got that. I'm good. I got that. I heard that my whole life. I got that. And they're always looking for the magic potion, the silver bullet, you're one funnel away. I mean, all these different distractions are out there that people are trying to sell to you to get you away from fundamentals, which you haven't even mastered the fundamentals yet, to be honest. That's where most of the success happens, is fundamentals, things that have been rooted for millions of years of civilizations. Like, it's always about the fundamentals. And most people overlook that, and consistency is the thing that what I require. And I think about consistency it's about showing up every day. It's 365 driven. It's like, what do I need to do every single day to move the needle a little bit further? And I'm not saying to go be a workaholic. I'm not saying to work 24/7, hustle and grind, that kind of crap, because I've done that before when I was in college, did that for 7 years. It's a terrible way to live, but that's how I had to live. I had no choice at that time, but it's not the right way to live. But consistency is just showing up every day, including weekends, taking a little portion of that weekend day, maybe morning, maybe late in the evening, to move that needle closer to your goals. And most people are unwilling to do that. And I like to do the simple math, Jay. Think about this. Most people work 5 days a week, right? 5 out of 7. You do some simple math. 5 divided by 7 equals 71%. Most people are operating on a daily, weekly schedule at 71% productivity. Now, they want to be rich. They want to be millionaires. They have all these big dreams. They want to have a bigger house, nicer car, nicer truck, go on more vacations. But most people are operating at 71%. Now, I don't know about you, Jay, but the schools I went to, that was like a D minus, maybe very close to failing.
Right.
At a 71%. So you got to think about the people who are doing more are willing to work those extra 2 days to put some level of productivity, and maybe they're investing in themselves in more knowledge, more skills, reading some books, listening to podcasts like yours or mine, and just challenging their mind and being around the right people that are going to inspire them and hold them accountable. Now they're investing in those extra 2 days. They were operating at 100%. So thinking of that simple math again, you're going to be the one that wants all these dreams, but you're only going to put 71%. You're competing against guys like me and guys like you, Jay, who are putting in 100%. Do you think the odds are in your favor? Probably not.
So I love that. So I want to ask you before we get to my final question, because I know we're running a little short on time. Where can our audience go to connect with you, to engage with you, to learn more about 365 Driven, and also be able to purchase the book?
My website is 365driven.com. Very easy. You'll find access to all my social media channels. I'm very active on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, but 365driven.com has the podcast with the exact same name, 365 Driven. And the book is available on Amazon, but you can also find all the links on that one website.
Fantastic. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. So here's my final question to you. What is one of the biggest gifts life's given you that you didn't realize at the time?
That's a good question. That's some depth right there, Jay. I think the biggest gift that I didn't realize at the time, I would say that it was just the hard struggle of going through some downturns in my life. I think that the adversity is what builds us a more fortified, better version of ourselves. I think if you have your life is too easy, that you're not going to be toughened up and hardened to go through the easier times easier. So let me give an example. So a lot of people come to me and they go, "Hey Jay, I want to start my first business, but I've got kids, or I've got credit card debt," or they have a multitude of excuses on why they can't start. And I think about that and go, "Okay, let me tell you about the time that I was going through this stuff and I started my first company." The year was 1999. I just gone on, it was an oil industry downturn. I'd only been out of school for 3 years. So I didn't have very much experience. I got laid off. I had student loans piled up. I had credit cards I had to live off for about 6 months while I was looking for a next job. I had a pregnant girlfriend at the time that was unplanned. It was a bad relationship, toxic relationship that we were trying to work out. And so here I was, broke, depressed, unemployed, and going through this daily routine where I felt like I was just getting up, going to find whatever part-time job or knock on doors or whatever I could to try to make some money. And then all this was going on, and it finally started to turn around. She and I didn't work out. We split up, but I was still in that depression, that funk, that just low negativity, and I was buried deep in a hole of debt. So I had to go work 3 jobs. So by the time I finally did get another engineering job, it was entry level, paying less than I was making.
Mhm.
And I would find myself in my own apartment and I would be like, I'm still broke. What do I need to do? So I would get off the couch because I get home at 4:30. I get off the couch and I would go put an apron on and go work at the restaurants as a waiter at the restaurants I used to work at while I was still in college. So I was working 7 nights a week, picking up extra shifts with an engineering degree. Working an engineering career, for most people would think a 40-hour job is like all they're going to do. And that wasn't enough. I went and worked on cars on Saturdays and Sundays in the mornings at a performance shop to get extra money. So I was working 3 jobs, Jay. Had a newborn son that I was watching whenever I could, most of the weekends, and just just living in a miserable life. And I'll tell you that after all that, I started my company in 2001. So I'd gone through 2 years of depression in 99 and 2000, and I started my company in 2001. And the reason I started that company is I needed something positive to focus on. I needed something just to be, putting something effort into something that I was going to get myself out of that hole. That was the company that ended up making millions of dollars. So I started the company in the worst conditions possible, just terrible relationship, depression, broke, 3 jobs. So I don't really like to hear people's excuses when they say I don't have time, because all I did was go, you know what, no one's helping me, so I got to figure this out on my own. So only thing I knew how to do was go trade my hours for dollars until I learned entrepreneurship. And then I started realizing that time is not equal to money, and I can, compound my investments and compound the time that I was investing into companies to create more income. And it was just a tough situation, but things happen for a reason. Had I not gone through that, I don't think it would have affected my whole life.
Yeah. Wow. What a beautiful response, and what a great way to look at that situation or those situations as a gift. Change the optics around it and use that to push you to greatness as you're experiencing today. It's fantastic. Thank you so very much for being with us today. I greatly appreciate it. And I would encourage everyone that is watching to definitely check this man out. Go check out 365 Driven, buy that book on Amazon, go to his website, and Tony has a tremendous amount of content for you to consume. Check out the podcast as well. It is available on all podcast platforms. I certainly am doing that, and I'm learning a lot from Tony. And Tony, I would say that we're going to have to continue this on part 2 because there are so many areas that I want to go in with you. So thank you again. I'm grateful for you being here today.
Hey, Jay, thanks for having me on the show. It's been an honor to be on your show, and I'll have to get you on mine, man. It's been fun talking with you, and I'm glad to have you in the network, buddy.
Thank you so much, and I would love that. And for the rest of you, thank you very much for watching. And if you found value in this episode, you know what to do. Go ahead and like and share with your friends and subscribe to this channel. And until next time, stay healthy and optimistic, keep learning and growing, and remember that transformative change in your life and business begins with you. And as Tony said earlier, nothing happens until you take action. So we'll see you on the next episode of Business Minds Coffee Chat.